iOS 17 has some amazing new features, most of which are available all the way back to iPhones as old as the iPhone SE, the original SE. I didn't want to do a full iOS 17 overview video, but I did want to share my top 5 favorite features of iOS 17 with you. So I guess we'll start. So my first favorite feature of iOS 17 that I want to talk about is offline maps. So inside of Maps, you can actually download an entire city or even bigger area for offline viewing. So if you lose internet connection or whatever, you can still get all of the information on businesses and streets and directions and everything else that you might need. So to do that, you're going to tap on your profile down at the bottom right. Then you're going to click on Offline Maps, and we're going to select Download New Map. And by default, it's going to say your location, and you can adjust from there. But I'm going to say Dallas, Texas. So if I wanted to download Dallas, Texas for offline viewing, I can do that with this right here. Down at the bottom, you can see that it's estimating about 490 megabytes to download this much area of Dallas and all the information that it contains. But you can change that. So you can make that bigger or smaller depending on your regular driving area. So if you're regularly driving all around Dallas or into Fort Worth, you can add all of this information. And as you add more and more of the map, you can see that the size of the download at the bottom will increase. Well, I don't need to go that far out. So I'm just going to say, that's about enough. So I'm going to hit download, and this is going to download all of that information that Maps has, again, like businesses and streets and all that stuff. So we'll give that just a moment. As that's finishing its download, I want to take a look at the other things on this screen right here. So again, you can download based on your current location. You can add additional maps, so you can have multiple different offline areas available for viewing. At the bottom, you can select to download via Wi-Fi only or with cellular. And if you're out and about and you need offline maps, you can just go ahead and use cellular. Automatic updates, so anytime Apple Maps changes in the background, it will automatically update for you. And you can choose to optimize storage, so maps that you don't use regularly, it will automatically get rid of for you. And then down here at the bottom, you can actually choose to use only offline maps. So for whatever reason, if you don't want to rely on existing internet, or maybe it's flaky, or for some reason it's unreliable, you can go ahead and select that and use only the offline maps that you have downloaded. Now that the Dallas area has downloaded, I will choose offline only. So now I have all this information of Dallas downloaded, and you can see this kind of outline around the city of what has been downloaded. So if you zoom into anything in here, you're going to get detail. But if you go out here, because we chose to use offline only, we're not going to get a lot of detail about what's out here. It's all it's got this weird texture to it. But back inside of our downloaded area, we can now actually get information on businesses and whatnot. So I'm just going to say, let's find a Wendy's. Maybe you want a spicy chicken sandwich. So we'll search nearby here. And here we get all the locations of the Wendy's. We can go ahead and select one and get the information about the business, the hours, the address, the phone number, all that jazz. And we can actually get directions. And we'll say from this spot that I have up here already. So we'll say from this pin, and there we go. So now we get full turn-by-turn directions with this offline map. So I think this is going to be good for more rural areas, maybe where internet is kind of spotty, or even urban areas where there's a lot of disruption in cellular signals. So now you can have at least offline access if you're having some kind of issue with your internet connectivity. I want to quickly thank today's sponsor, Pitaka. This is the Mag-EZ 3 case from Pitaka. This is the thinnest, lightest, MagSafe compatible aramid fiber case for iPhone. The case is made of aramid fibers like what's used in aerospace and woven together to make a case that is both 5 times stronger and 5 times lighter than steel. The Mag-EZ case is perfect for somebody who wants a case as light and thin as possible, but also provides scratch and ding protection without getting in the way. Plus, there's built-in protection for the camera around the back. I really like the minimalist look and feel of this Mag-EZ case. It's really light and thin, it's easy to put in my pocket, and it gives it the protection that I need. This is the Overture color, but there are other awesome designs to choose from Pitaka's website. So if you want to pick up one of these Mag-EZ cases today, check out the link in the description below, and my thanks to Pitaka for sponsoring this video. The next feature I want to talk about is the new widgets feature of iOS 17. With iOS 17, we now have interactive widgets, and what we have so far is going to be pretty basic, so we're going to have to rely on third parties to come up with some really great interactive widget ideas. But for example, you can now interact with the podcast app. You can actually play and pause a podcast right from the widget. Oops. So John Gruber, you should definitely check out his podcast, The Talk Show with John Gruber. You can have home widgets down here, so you can actually turn on and off lights without having to go inside the home app. And right now, by default, it's showing the recommended widgets based on what it thinks I might want to use, but you can tap and hold on the widget. You can edit, And here you can actually set the widgets that you have inside of there. So you can add, 4 different items in here for the ones that you actually want to use. Otherwise, you can just let Apple kind of figure out what you might want to use. Similar to the Home app, you can now interact directly with shortcuts. And from here, you can actually go ahead and change what's shown on here as well, just like with the Home app. So you can edit, and then you can add specific ones that you think you're going to want available on your home screen. And then with reminders, we actually get interactive reminders. So now I can do this thing and check it off right from the home screen without even having to go inside the app. The next feature I want to talk about is dictation. Siri finally does a decent job with dictation. Siri has struggled with this for so many years. Back when I was using Android, I swear Google had this down back in 2015. Google has been so far ahead in voice recognition, but now, like I said, Siri may be finally catching up. Inserting punctuation is a bit tricky and it doesn't always seem to get it right, but as of now, I can actually use it. Before, I would spend more time going back and correcting Siri's dictation mistakes than it would have taken me just to type out the message. So, thanks Apple. Thanks for this. The next thing I want to talk about is shared passwords. So finally, we have shared passwords inside iOS that you can share with family or friends or any other groups that you want to create to where you can have same login information. So for example, when my family has a Hulu account, each of us can have the same password without me having to airdrop it or share one password to everybody else. And then when it gets updated, I have to redo it and delete the old one or whatever. It's just a mess. So now inside passwords, we can create a group to share those passwords. We'll hit the plus button at the top. We'll say new shared group. And it's going to say, make sure you trust the people you're sharing with. Continue. And here it's going to allow you to choose somebody that you want to add and then also a group name. We'll just say shared passes. And then we can add somebody who's in our contact list. The person has to be inside your contact list. So I'll hit add and I'll just add me. So I've added my regular account. I'll hit create. Here it's asking if we want to add any of our existing passwords into the new group. So I'll go ahead and add that one and hit move. Now it's asking if you want to notify the person that you're inviting and saying, hey, do you want to join my group? So we'll hit notify via messages and it's going to send a message to that other person. So now we have the shared group and the shared password in here. If we hit back, we can see here's our passwords, here's our my passwords and shared passes. So you can see that we moved this one into the shared passes. So we can tap on that and see that one. And if we want to just see the ones that are not shared, we can click on there. So if we want to move this aa.com down to the shared passwords, we can do that by clicking on the password. And right here, you have a group. Right now it's in my passwords and we can go ahead and change that to shared passes. We'll say move it to the group and voila. So you can see the icon change. Now we have this little sharing icon. If we go back, you'll see both of these items have the sharing icon. They're both showing in shared passes and there's nothing currently in just my regular password group. Now, of course, you can remove things from those shared groups as well. You and your significant other break up or you kick a roommate out or whatever. You can go ahead and click on the password and you can move an individual password back to your own personal password group. And you can see the sharing icon is gone. And you can also go ahead and delete the group too. So you can go ahead and go into the group, hit manage. And here you can see, again, the people in here and you can delete the group. And it's going to say when you delete the group, it's going to move the passkeys and passwords back into your own private group. So we'll hit delete and I should still have 2 passwords available right here. I think this is going to make a lot of things real easy if you're using Apple's password manager and iCloud and you have other people in your family that use it as well. And my 5th favorite feature of iOS 17 is going to be standby. So standby is an ambient display mode. When you put your iPhone to sleep and put it on MagSafe charger, you now get this kind of ambient display. There's 3 different options that you have to choose from. You get a clock, you get photos, and you get kind of a widget display. With the widget display, you can choose different options to look at. You have 2 different sides. You can tap and hold to add different widgets. So the same widgets that you can add to your home screen, you can go ahead and add here as well. We'll just go ahead and hit plus. We'll hit batteries, add widget, and now we have a battery widget available for us to use. If we go over one, we now have the photo mode, and here you can move between a couple of different photo options, and you can select which ones are available. So if you tap and hold, you can see that you get featured, and you get nature and pets and cities and people, and these are just kind of different albums inside your photos. So if you don't want to see, for example, this nature slide, you can actually go ahead and hit that eye icon and make it go away or bring it back up, and you can add other photo albums by tapping the plus icon at the top left. I'm going to go ahead and leave it on nature for now, and this will just cycle through photos every so often. Then on the far right, we do have clock mode. So you have a number of different options for showing a clock. You get analog, you get digital, you get a world clock, and you get, I don't know, whatever, a couple more digital options. And each one of these can be customized. So for example, if you tap and hold, you can go ahead and change the color of the hands and the little notification things back there, the date and the time, and we'll select that. And I prefer this one. This has been my nightstand for the last couple of months. It works really well. It gives you a nice big display when you need it. I think this color is pretty easy on the eyes, but again, you can change the color to something else if that's what you prefer. So this works best with an iPhone 14 Pro or newer because it has the always-on display. With the always-on display, it detects motion, and when it stops detecting motion, it will actually go ahead and turn off the display. Unfortunately, if you're using a regular iPhone 14 or older, you won't get that ability to have that always-on display or that auto-sensing display. After 30 seconds, the standby mode will actually just turn off, and the only way to get it back on is to just tap on the screen. Now, there are a couple of options for configuring standby. So if we go to settings and we go to standby, at the top we have the ability to turn it on or off. Then we have the ability to turn the always-on display on or off, which means it will intelligently turn off the display on standby mode if it thinks you're not looking at it or doing anything with it. If you turn that off, it'll act like an iPhone 14 or older and just turn off the display after 30 seconds. Then there's night mode. Night mode is pretty slick, especially when using an iPhone 14 Pro. It will basically make the display a really dim, dark red color when the lights are off, which means it's really easy to look at night. It doesn't hurt your eyeballs. This motion to wake means like if you're moving around in bed, you look up to see the clock, it'll turn on the display. And then when you fall back asleep or stop moving, the display will turn off. If we go back, we can have it show us notifications while we're in standby mode, or we can hide those and require a tap on the screen to show those notifications. And now I want to show you what the night mode looks like. So we'll go ahead and place the iPhone on the MagSafe stand. There it goes, it does its thing. Let me turn off the lights. And as you can see, we got that slow dim to that dark red, which makes it a lot easier to look at night. Now, I know this video is my 5 favorite features, but I do have one little bonus feature for you, and that is the ability to finish AirDrop transfers over the internet if you move away from the person you start the transfer with. So if you have 2 Apple devices and you start an AirDrop migration, say it's a large file, and you guys move away from each other, that transfer and migration will continue over the internet nice and secure through iCloud. Now, that's not available yet. It will be available later this year, but that is one feature I am really looking forward to. So those are my 5 favorite features of iOS 17. And of course, there are others. So let me know down below what your favorite new features are for iOS 17 or even iPadOS 17. If you haven't seen this video right over here, you should definitely check it out. Hit the thumbs up button if you liked it, hit subscribe if you want, and I'll see you next time.